All right, for the rest of the time here, let's do a little bit of role play. I want to pretend like that I'm a lean consultant coming in your company, and you're the CEO, or the COO, or the plant manager. You're somebody that brought me in at a very senior level position, and you want to know how to make lean work for your company. You've heard about it, but what do we need to do to actually make it work? So this is literally what we would talk about. We would talk about lean as a strategy, how it has to be led from the top. We'll go over expectations, typical results, tips for success, pitfalls to avoid, getting started, literally what we do, and then some final thoughts. So, up front, I talked about lean as a strategy, and we went over the definition and actually spent some time on it. So I won't do that here, but I would do it here if you called me out to your company, because it's very, very important. And again, it's a matter of your perspective of what lean is and how you use it. And if you don't use it as a strategy, you will get minimal results, or you'll get results that will likely not sustain themselves. What you should expect, and the main idea here is these should be expectations. You know, you're bringing in lean, you're serious about it, you're going to treat it as a strategy. You should expect very, very good results. You shouldn't hope for them. They should be expectations. You're going to set some pretty lofty goals for yourself, and you're going to have the training, the tools you're going to need to reach those goals. But also the opposite side, you should also expect resistance at all levels. And when I say all levels, I want to just emphasize that briefly and just think on it for a second, because you may already have an idea where you think the resistance may come from based on previous experiences, but it may come from places that you don't expect. You should also expect comments like this, and you're going to hear some of them word for word. Our place is different. We've tried that before. We're doing all right without it, especially if your company's in the black already and doing very well. Why do we need to bring this in? It's not my job. I don't like that. Not that again. Perhaps you tried something in the past. But these are actually the comments that you're going to hear. And again, knowing that up front is helpful. If you notice the color of some more kind of reddish tint, once I became a program manager for a lean program, I was given this slide back in 2006. And I used it to brief, different people as they came through and the boss. And as I would hear one verbatim, I would highlight it. So every meeting that we had, I would say, look, these are the ones I've heard. And I would tell the boss sometimes, you don't want to know who said that one. We've always done it that way, because you'd be very surprised. Lean is rapid. Improvements are very, very rapid. You're going to be able to, like those changeovers done in 1 week, you're going to be able to do things like that. It's faster than anything that I've ever seen. But with that said, as the leader of your organization, you need to know that even though you can have some isolated, incredible improvements, to change that culture and to change that way of thinking, it's going to take time. And it's going to take a lot of leadership. And if you get into this 6 months or a year and you are preoccupied with something else and you let it drop, you're going to see almost instantly you're going to start dropping in performance in your lean. So it's an ongoing journey as far as changing the mindset of people. So the key here really is it does take time to change a culture. Hopefully in your second or third year, you're starting to see people in your organization doing things on their own, adapting these principles, and starting to become lean thinkers versus the traditional type of thinking. All right, some tips for success. I probably emphasized this a lot already, but it has to be led from the top. It is a people transformation. It requires that leadership. And the resistance, there's something about us. There's something about the American culture where we resist change. Not all change. We like the microwave and the cell phone, but when we're asked to do something different at work, it goes against our grain, especially if we can't feel and sort of see the reason to do that. But it has to be led from the top. You need to build a core team of internal lean professionals. You need to have some people in-house. You're undoubtedly going to have some kind of consulting to get started, but you want to build your own team inside that can help you with the program. And a caution that I want to throw out here is when you do that, here's what can happen and what does happen. You have the lean department over here, and then you have operations over here. And the operations says, well, that's what those guys do over there. They're the lean guys, and we're the operations guys. And that's a very common mistake. They have to be integrated together. And your operations people will become lean people under the right circumstances, but you need to develop that team. Focus on people and processes, and the goals will take care of themselves. When you go down the shop floors now, I'm sure you already have plenty of things to talk with people about. But when you start setting very specific goals for different processes, and you change your structure around a little bit, which we'll talk about, you're going to be able to talk about those goals with the people and the processes that they're working to try to reach those goals. And then it has to be mandatory. You certainly can't do something like this company-wide without making it mandatory. Pitfalls to avoid, and these are very common ones, by the way, there's more. Senior management doesn't lead the transformation. That's the number one pitfall of going lean, and lean not working, maybe sustaining 20% of what you've done, is because senior management moves on to something else. That's the most critical foot stomp of the entire briefing, really. Internal lean professionals not supported. As a external lean consultant, I can see this, and I talk to the guys on the inside that are those internal guys, and they're doing lean maybe 40% of the time, and quality maybe 20, 30, 40%. They're maybe actually doing some operational stuff. They were hired to do lean, but yet they wind up doing a lot of other things. It takes away from your program, and you're going to need every one of those people to be doing lean 100% of the time if you're serious about going, and you'll see why in a little bit. If you have a culture where you're afraid to try anything or avoiding risk at all costs, it's going to be very difficult to go lean. That fear of failure, and it's really part of the culture, because if I work as a supervisor and I know that if I make a mistake or something don't work as planned, that I'm maybe passed over for promotion or just even viewed negatively, that would make me not want to try that, and that is very, very common. That again, I think that's part of our culture based on what I've seen. And then lastly, believing that hair lean will beat tortoise lean. As I mentioned, some of the improvements are rapid. They're very, very, very fast. However, that lean transformation takes time. It's going to take time to get where you want to go. You've got to the point now where you're like, okay, I'm sold. I want to try this. What do we need to do? And these are the steps that I would recommend that you do. All of these things don't have to be done before you actually go, but some do. First one's a vision or strategy statement. You want to be able to come out there and announce to your company why you're doing this. And it needs to be very motivational, and it needs to be directed from the top and actually presented by the CEO. And I would help to develop that statement. You need a communications plan, because things will get very messy and confusing quickly without it. Roles and responsibilities, organizational structure. One of the reasons why lean doesn't work sometimes is you take your traditional functional organizational structure, and then you dump lean on top of it. As I mentioned during the first part, everything has to change. You have to look at your structure. Your company is going to be set up in value streams now instead of the functional. It has to change. So you're going to look at all that. Also, even just literally how, when you start doing projects, who's going to be, what does a champion mean in your company for that lean project, and etc. You need a tactical plan, how you're actually going to go out and do it, and again, develop that internal lean capability. Lean is learned by doing, but you still need some training. So there need to be some sort of training plan. And all these things, by the way, I recommend that they're very, very simple and easy to communicate and easily understood. And then you want to do some type of annual review just to see how things are going specifically with your lean. Okay, we've done all that now. We've got that stuff together, all the things that we need to, and now we're ready to go. So what do we do next? The first thing is to announce the vision, that strategy statement, and provide the introductory training. Behind the scenes, we're going to go ahead and work on our first event. We're going to be prepared for that. So when you make the announcement, in 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to go, or sooner, or a month. But it's not going to be 6 months down the road before people start seeing movement. But you're going to announce the vision. I recommend the CEO do that. So if you have a situation where you have 1,300 people in eight plants across U.S. and Mexico, I recommend videotaping it or something, but the people need to see the CEO bringing this strategy, announcing the vision. And also, I recommend the CEO provide the introductory training. The training's not going to be on the 5 principles of lean and 7 types of waste and 5S and all that, but it's going to be, again, motivational. It's going to have some examples of other success stories, and it's going to be a call to action. Even during the training part of it, it's going to be hopefully in that way, and we'll try to set it up so it does that. And then you're going to get right into it. Again, a very short time after that, you're going to start having movement forward. And the Kaizen events is basically 2, 3, 4, 5 day events where you're looking at a process, perhaps mapping it out, and then setting up rapid improvement events after that. But the enterprise-wide value stream analysis is a tool that I use after the first week Kaizen event with the experts in the room. We do a big process. It's called a future state map at a strategic level, and that's going to be your tactical plan for the next year and a half to 2 years. Because when you look at a company, if you start making improvements maybe on the back end first, and you go the wrong way, it's going to have an effect when you get to the other end. So there's a logical process, there's a logical flow of making improvements, so we want to make sure that we do that right. If you truly go lean and you treat it as a strategy and you lead it from the top, you're going to be able to do what you do now and very soon do more things with less people. So are you going to, what's your intentions? Is it to reduce headcount? And even that one little SMED event I mentioned in the results, the people in the room that morning were leery of me and this lean stuff because they thought if they did a good job, they may lose their job. So I asked the guy that brought me in to go to the plant manager and ask him, is that true? And he said, absolutely not. So he came into the team and told them nobody's going to lose their job. If we do very well and we continue throughout our factory, he explained how they were going to, do that without people losing their job. But that's very important. Along with the vision, there needs to be a burning platform. It's hard for people to want to do this because it requires you to do things different and even more so to think differently. So what's the burning platform? There's a lot of tactics and ways if you're going to reduce headcount and you're going to go lean. But, again, every company's different. Every, circumstances is everything. But if you're going to reduce 10%, do it first and then go lean. And then there you have a burning platform. People see there's a need. We have to work. We have to be able to make up where that 10%'s gone. And I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying if you don't go lean and then start laying people off, because then your lean program will completely die really fast. Because if I do a good job, I may lose my job. This next statement is really, very, again, circumstances driven, but you're going to run 1 to 2 events each month for 3 to 5 years in each facility as appropriate. It may not be that much, but the idea is that it's ongoing. It's not something we can do in 6 months and knock it out. We can't get it done in a year. It's going to be ongoing, okay? And then the last one, lean is a journey versus a destination, not say a marriage versus dating. It's really a commitment. It's ongoing. It should be, as long as you're in charge of, as long as you're the CEO of that company, you're going to go lean. It's a commitment that you make to the company. Lean transformation is what we just talked about. That's coming in and actually trying to literally transform your company into a lean company. Targeted improvements could be anything from a SMED event to, some smaller area. In the workshops, I won't mention all of them in detail, but I will mention they're all hands-on. It's all lecture and do, lecture and do, lecture and do, and it's in your facility, and it's with the people that are going to be the experts in the areas that we're looking at that you want to be in there. But the one thing I'll mention about the root cause analysis, even if you're not lean, have no intention of ever going lean, if you want an investment in your people, this class is set up to be a train the trainer using root cause analysis. So instead of having what I did most of my career, firefighting, which I was very good at, it helped me get promoted, but people will become problem solvers and actually get to the root cause of issues. Anyway, it's a great class, and it's meant to be a train the trainer, so you're left with some people that have some really good hands-on training. And then the last two are certification programs. I'll just mention what a green belt does for you. A green belt can lead those events for you. They can provide training. A black belt can do the same, but they can also bring people up to the green belt level, provide the green belt training class that I have listed, and they just have far, far more experience than the green belts.